Entertainment remains one of the hardest hit segments of our economy, and it impacts every person in the field, from nightclub owners to bartenders to waiters to the actors and musicians who make their living on stage. ONR's Jason Doyle reports on a federal proposal that could help the music come alive again in Oklahoma.
Since the COVID-19 pandemic hit, weekend nights are just not the same for live performances.
Before we shut down, I mean, we were doing a good 15 to 16 nights a month of business. Since then, it's been hit and miss. I don't know when that'll come back. I really don't. I mean, I keep thinking it'll be mid next year, which scares the bejeebies out of us.
Kane's Ballroom has been in business for 96 years. Chad Rogers, the co-owner and general manager, says they went 3 months without a show when the pandemic forced entertainment venues like his to shut down.
The artists stopped touring, and so they're not making any money. And then that means that the tour bus company, all the tour buses are sitting stale, and so that industry's shot. And then there's all the people that the artists employ, the tour managers, the production guys, the people they bring on the road.
One of the singer-songwriters impacted by the dimming of the bright lights of live independent stages, Jamie Hooper.
After COVID, it's really been reduced, practically to nothing at first. But now I think there's a few places that are opening their doors up, and I even have a gig coming up, but we'll see. If it's not canceled, hopefully it won't be. But yeah, it's a dramatic difference now.
And it's taking both a financial and emotional toll on the artists.
I know musicians who basically make their living playing out, and they've really been hurt by this. And then there's some like me who have day jobs and whatnot, and we're getting by fine. But it's still a psychological thing. I think performers and musicians and artists, they have to have a place to go and play.
We've had to pivot and try these new things just to try and bring some money in, because right now we're just waiting on the federal government still to help small businesses and hopefully independent live music venues as well.
Congress is considering 2 proposals. The Restart Act provides assistance like tax credits for small independent performance venues, restaurants, and other similar small businesses. The other bill is the Save Our Stages Act. It would provide up to $12 million for independent venues to use for salaries, utilities, and other business-related costs. The proposal would appropriate $10 billion to the effort.
These are bills that could be easily included in the next relief package and that have strong bipartisan support. This is not a partisan issue. This is an issue that impacts all of us.
In Oklahoma alone, the arts and culture industry generates nearly $4.4 billion in economic impact. Figures show the industry employs more than 42,000 Oklahomans.
Simply put, our city and our state cannot afford to lose these businesses, and that's why Congress must take action.
Congress isn't the only source of help. The city of Oklahoma City started a $2 million grant program to help its venues. Additionally, the Oklahoma Arts Council has pitched a relief package to Governor Stitt for CARES Act money.
Early on in the pandemic's impact of the arts and cultural sector, the Oklahoma Arts Council started and initiated conversations with the governor's office and the Secretary of Finance, and we're making our case.
Executive Director Amber Sharple says arts play a vital role in business development and retention for our state.
Quality of life, arts education, all of these institutions are part of that ecosystem. And if that starts to erode, we will not be a competitor on a state level, a regional or national level for these new businesses and opportunities to make our state stand out.
Places like the Tower Theater in Oklahoma City were growing before the pandemic struck.
Our revenue loss so far for 2020 has been 90%.
Stephen Tyler with the Tower Theater says the help they've received has been great, but it's run out.
We have continued to apply for city programs, independent grants, scraping every dollar we can because we've spent our money.
It's very small margins with a big dream every time you're putting on an event, and I think that ripples out into our neighborhoods and into our communities, and it gives people hope.
Unfortunately, it's too late for these proposals to help the Paramount Room.
We were simply too small and too new to weather the storm of a pandemic. We were unable to keep our business open, but that story is not unique.
The Paramount Room was an anchor for the Film Road District just west of downtown Oklahoma City. Former owner Jeremiah Holland says the loss will extend to their neighbors.
The loss of income generated by selling a ticket here affects the bars, the restaurants, the hotels in our neighborhood, as well as alcohol distributors, ticket distributors, and local supply companies and retailers.
I read the other day that for every dollar spent on a ticket, a live music ticket, that translates into $12 spent in a local economy.
Rogers says Cain's is offering concerts at 25% capacity and offering pay-per-view streaming to generate more revenue.
Our partial reopening is really just almost to keep the Cain's at the forefront of people's minds. We're not really making a lot of money, if any, at this point.
I don't think it's healthy for the public as well. I think the public's really missing out as well. And I think we need, as a society and as a city, we need the live music. We need somewhere to go and relax and just, kind of escape and enjoy music.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Jason Doyle, the Oklahoma News Report.
A lot of great music in Oklahoma. We're told the Save Our Stages legislation would only pass as part of a larger coronavirus stimulus bill. And of course, right now, those negotiations are at a stalemate in Washington. Lights, camera, action at what is now the Cox Convention Center in Oklahoma City. This week, the City Council approved a letter of intent with Prairie Surf Media to create sound stages for movie and TV productions within the building. Oklahoma City is nearing completion on a new convention center, and this gives the current facility a much-needed new purpose. A formal lease agreement is expected to be presented to the council by the end of the year.